Hey, 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 Beat Baseball World. Welcome back to the Beat Ball Blues Show where you got Neil, DAWG, and Bam Bam here with me. What up, baby?
Oh, well, you're rhythmically putting it together poetically.
I believe Lex said rhymes, dropping rhymes. I always said not rhymes, bars, dropping bars.
Bars,
Yeah.
bars, That's good. You're appropriating the black man's music. You and Elvis, man. You and Elvis, man. May it make you as famous and rich as it did him.
One thing the world doesn't have enough of is old white wannabes. I thought.
All right, hey, there's a niche for everything, man. You got to fit in it, man.
Follow me on Instagram at old white wannabe.
All right, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of 50-year-old white folk out there that wanna relive their old days. Like, I could be a rapper too. Go, Neil Dog. Get busy.
Ice,
Go, Neil
ice,
Dog.
baby. Before we bring our guest in and get rolling, man, I just want to make a little note. One, for those few that actually see our show.
All four of you. Hi.
I'm hoping that the look is better. Not realizing it, my computer somehow got switched to portrait view. And it's always been my understanding that landscape gives a better view, and I wasn't aware that I'd gotten off of landscape. So I have that set up, but I also have moved back to where I originally did my show.
Neil Dog is living on the edge, man.
Yeah, man, just switching things up. I started out way back when it was just me on Facebook Live over here, as you know, in my living room where the computer desk is, doing it from my desk, and I just had like the iPhone recording the show, and I'd have whatever guest on my iPad or on my landline on speakerphone, and that was my high tech whatever. But it was always here at my desk, and then in fact, I'm going to move in closer. I forgot that I moved the chair out. But then as I was trying different microphones over here, it sounded too hollowy. I realized we've been using these headsets. No, probably not. I didn't like the sound.
Neil Dog just making up words. I love it, man. I love it.
I'm going to have my own dictionary out.
All right.
Neil Dog.
Nihilism. A nihilism.
But I realized with these headsets that we use now that it doesn't pick up like around the room as much as other mics I've used. So I popped back over here to see how the sound is, Set Dog. So
man,
why I just spent 5 minutes on like
5 minutes. I'm sure everybody in the world was sitting on the edge of their seat wondering why the hell you moved. Right? All four people who couldn't see you in the first place,
And what I was going to point out too is like it's not the first time I've done it. Like any time a little bit of change has been made, I always mention it like it's a big deal. Nobody has ever responded except for Frank once in a while. Like if Frank might give us a thumbs up that I look better on landscape, but nobody else will say a single word probably. So I don't know why. Especially when I just told you guys I gotta get through this. I got other things to get to tonight.
You gotta share. You want to share.
I know.
Like to talk. Neil, you're a sharer.
I like to talk.
Yeah, you are. You're a sharer.
Well, we'll get into the whys of it because I think that's important in a minute. Why we are having.
Dude, you know why is not a question but an answer learned in time. Let me stop. But why get out in the sun too long today, Neil Dog? Come on now.
Why, and with little kids the whole time.
Right.
Why we are having this guest on who's already been on this show like 983 times before.
It's like there's 5 people in the beatball world, man, and we got to cycle through them constantly.
But we'll explain.
Darnell Booker, come on down.
Oh, I'm gonna be reaching out to Darnell soon. We got the Indie Bonanza coming up, and Darnell's been working his first VP for like 6-8 months now. So we definitely got to check in with Book before too long. So yeah,
the part of our favorite guests on.
Ooh.
Just us, man.
Oh.
We can just sit here, yeah, you know, just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
I'd be willing to bet our current guest thinks that's what we're doing tonight.
Hey. Took a lot to get here, man. We moved a lot to make this a show happen. So we got to talk, man. Let people know. We did it for them, man. We did it for you. I did it for you.
But I do want to say, bringing in our guest, that the music being played tonight has been provided by our guest from the San Antonio Jets, Mr. David Smith. What up, D. Smith?
Hey. What up, guys? What up?
He's still awake.
Done?
Almost.
No. Hey, I'm happy to be here, man.
I got to mute him. I'm going to mute him.
Hey, I was going to say, man, hey, we can click and go right back to talking amongst ourselves, man.
Even when we have nothing to say, we'll say a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
You muted me? Did you mute me?
No, I didn't mute nobody.
No, man, what up? I was, waiting for you guys to finish,
I appreciate your patience.
You say that. You say, I'm honored to be on the show.
Yep. I'm honored to be on the show. Yada yada, blah blah blah. Thank you for having me. Seriously.
That's David Smith. I always want to call you David Crystal Smith, but I won't.
Oh, you can call me that because I'm nothing without my wife.
Oh yeah. Hey, I said the same thing. I told Christina earlier.
You hear that, baby?
I told Christina the same thing. I couldn't do flag football if it wasn't for you letting it happen. So
somebody taught me to say this correctly like 20 years ago, and so I'll make sure it's said right, because the wrong way that people have always said is behind any great man is a great woman, but right next to any great man is a great strong woman. Right next to, not behind, right next to. So both of you got that working for you.
I don't know, man.
I wish it would rub off on me a little bit, but both of you got that working for you.
Yeah, right.
So the promotion of this music and all that, people probably think.
Oh, what is the music? I can't hear it. It's like our Christmas show the other time. Yeah.
That was one of the greatest moments ever in TBBS history. But people are gonna be thinking of David Smith as like becoming a music artist. I mean, he's been working on music a long time, and we're here to promote his music career. But that's not what we're doing.
What kind of music is it? I asked.
It's music for the people, baby.
But that's so generic. We're not doing coach speak here.
Hip hop-ish.
It's hip hop-ish? What?
Yeah. It's D. Smith music, man. Come on.
I don't know what it is, though.
That doesn't answer your question.
Am I listening to country right now? Am I having the sounds of cool jazz? What is it, man?
It's definitely got an R&B feel.
I'd say it's a mix of R&B, hip hop, pop.
R&B, hip hop, rock, country, jazz. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm gonna try country pretty soon here. Look out for that. But it's honestly just part of therapy and getting my getting how I feel out. I didn't used to always be able to do that. So, and you guys are honestly, the beatball world is my only audience, and that's I make a lot of music about beatball and getting people going. Even if they don't like what they hear. Hopefully they do a few push-ups after they hear a song or something.
Maybe you and White Lightning could collaborate. He could write some words, and you could have the music and stuff like that.
Hey, bring it on.
We'll save that episode for the fall, for the off season. That's our off season episode.
Yeah.
So, look, jumping into tonight, this show has kind of gone back and forth. What we were going to do this week. I talking to Dave on like Thursday, Wednesday, somewhere in there, found out that David had been planning on running for president. And I was like, well, we had Jerry on, Jerry Wendell, who's also running for president, and we'll be happy to have you or anybody else that's running for president come on. And that's a big important position in our league. So I would like to give anybody running for that spot an opportunity, the same equal opportunity to come on here and share their voice. But over the weekend, as the weekend went on, I got a call. Just want to kind of walk it back before I let Dave explain the rest. But get a call from Dave after the board meeting, and actually a message. And you, David, told me that you were rethinking things, and at this point, you weren't sure you were going to run for president. And so when I called you back, I just was calling as a friend to reach out and say, "Hey, man, what's going on? What happened?" And I had already accepted we were going to have to move on and find something else for the show. But as you got to talking about your decision and what you experienced at the board meeting, I actually thought it was cool content for other NBBA members to hear. So if you could, in your words, Dave, what was the transition from then to now? Where you?
Oh yeah. So I attended I attended the board meeting, and I heard what I heard, and I thought I heard a lot of great things. A couple of things I didn't like, but for the majority of what I heard that to me the league is moving in the right direction, and I felt like the things I wanted to do, as president and as an ambassador for the sport, I could definitely and easily do on the board. And so I thought
You mean as a board member rather than having to try to go all the way to the top, right? Is that what you meant?
right. Hey, look, I love taking risks, man. I love taking risks, but sometimes the traditional route, doesn't always have to be the way. So I love taking risks, and I was pretty set on running, but then I realized, thinking about the whole picture, Jerry's, served this league for many, many years. And like I said, I respect Jerry and pretty much the things I wanted to do as president, I could do as board. And I do want to get some experience and, that good stuff. So I decided to rescind my nomination as president, and I have already been nominated to run for a board position this year.
So let me ask you, what kind of was your driving thing that was pushing you to want to run for president, and then what was it like specifically that you saw that made you think, hey, the league's on a good track here. I just need to kind of jump on the train and help push a little bit. What were those?
Well, I'm very passionate about this sport, man. My life has changed because of this sport, more specifically because of my teammates and the membership of the league, the players. I'm not the same person I was 6-7 years ago. I'm so much better than I was before I found beat ball. And so sometimes my passion gets in the way of my words sometimes, and I'll say things and not really looking at the whole picture. So when I saw the whole picture, I learned some things, and I'm a man. I don't have no problem saying, hey, I said some things out of my ass, and that's what I did. I took a step back after the board meeting and said, look, man, this is, the league's in a the league's in an opportunistic time right now, with 5 board positions being up for grabs. And like I said, the things I wanted to do as president and believed I can do and still can do, I could do that as a member of the board.
That's where Seth, like listening to him yesterday, I guess felt like it would still be a good show to do, because like what I really took strongly from David, talking to him after the board member meeting, if it's all right to use this word, I felt like he was humble. Which I think a little humility is something that a lot of us could take a step back and endure a little bit, especially like in our kind of our current environment for beat baseball, where so much of the discussion like is being done in Beat Ball Nation, and it's a lot of opinions but not a ton of facts, as far as saying the league should do it this way, that way, whatever, and not really knowing like the makeup of the bylaws and the importance of having to follow that stuff to keep stuff like our nonprofit incorporations. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that may be boring and mundane about the board, as far as the process, but you don't have a choice. Like the George's rule, Robert's rule of law, or whatever. Like all that stuff has to be followed for us to keep our non-profit status. So, what I went a little further than I planned to, but what I really took from talking to David yesterday, which I think some of our members that we could use a little more of, is he went and checked it out, and it went ahead of steam. Like, man, this thing needs a lot of changes, and I'm going to step in and try to be the one, use my hand to get it going. And then he watched the motor in action, and it's like, look, it's not perfect, but these people are here trying.
Well, I gotta correct you on that. I wasn't gonna go and run for this presidency thinking that I was going to use my hand. My whole thought was I need the people just as, more than they need me. And so my idea as a president was to, and still like, I want to play a first league, like use the players.
That? What does that mean? And that's what I was trying to get at earlier. Okay. It's like, what was it? What was your vision that got you to decide, hey, I'm going to run for president? What did you want to see? What did you want to enact? What did you want to do? Right? What was it? What was that player?
Well, was it the first part, just from having you talk to me about it? But wasn't the beginning of it really other players encouraging you to go, wasn't it?
Well, look, man, a lot of players have passion, man. They have a lot of passion. Like I said before, it gets in the way of your words sometimes, and that's okay to admit that. I'm not gonna talk down to anybody who's done the same thing I did, on Facebook, because I feel their passion and I know where they're coming from.
Right.
You have to do your research, and think about things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in graduate school. I'm taking a healthcare finance class right now, learning tons of things about finances with huge corporations. And I went and looked at, I went on Facebook a few days ago and was like, hey, we want this, we want that, we want this, we want that. And my passion was just coming out of me. And then when I look at, I took a look at the financial statements of the league and realized, well, damn, we're not in a position to give more to the players, even if they wanted to, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think there are people who hear like the number that like the league has altogether. Like, there's different funds that are associated to the league, and people hear like that overall nut and think, boy, we could do a whole bunch with that. It's like, in reality, it's not that much money, and some of the ideas people have, that money would be gone in less than 5 years.
The big numbers that you hear about, you can't touch those. Those are for like rainy days, emergencies, and you can only use the interest that you build up on those. You can't, you hear $200 and something $1,000, and if you don't do your research, you're like, what the? That's what I did. I heard $400,000 a while back, and I was like, what in the hell? Not I hadn't done my research yet. Okay, but then I realized, well, shoot, 90% of that, maybe more, you can't even touch, really. And so after doing my research and attending the board meeting, I want to thank the board, number one, for their hard work and dedication. And like I said, after just doing my research and listening to the board meeting, we are kind of maybe not as quick as we want, but we are kind of headed in the right direction on some of the things that the younger generational players want. And we just got to figure out as a league together with the entire membership how to get where we want to get within the next 4 to 5 years.
See, I'm one of these old guys, and I'm trying to figure out what is it that you younger players want. What is it, what is it that is driving you and people, younger players like yourself, what is it that you want? What is,
what's the number one thing that's missing right now?
Ah, man, let me get my words right.
I mean, that's a lot to put on you. I know that's you. You can't really answer for all the younger players.
Yeah, I'll speak for myself.
Well,
right?
speak for yourself. Yes, as a representative, you can always only speak for yourself. No, you can't speak for anybody else.
But I do feel like a lot of the membership feels the way I feel. Okay.
Yes,
but I'll speak for myself in saying that I grew up. I wanted to be a professional athlete. Grew up watching all those badass sports movies where they end up struggling, and then at the end they're triumphant, and their story is written, and nobody ever forgets those stories, even if they're movies, right? And so
Seth and I have seen Remember the Titans like 1 billion times. So.
Well, you guys,
totally on board with you.
You guys have lived the story, some of it, right? Like you won championships, right? You've lived the story,
right?
Okay, and so I grew up aspiring to be this, and then being told that, you can have detached retinas, you can't play baseball, you can't play football, you can't play basketball, you can't lift too much heavy weight, you can't fall on the ground, like, you can do ice skating. You want to do figure skating? Do I look like a figure skater? You could do swimming. I'm 5'9", dude. You think I'm gonna be successful as a swimmer at 5'9"?
And we know only sissies swim.
That's not true, Seth.
That's a shot at me. That's a shot at me. That's a shot at me, David.
That was totally a joke at Neil. Neil swam.
I was a competitive swimmer until I was 19 years old. Like 15
years. It was a total, for anybody out there, total joke. It was
5'11".
Yeah.
5'11".
Yeah.
Well, good for you. I swam too at a young age. I did well. I made it to the state championships. But unfortunately, I didn't tie my Speedo tight enough, and when I dove in the water, my Speedo came down, and I had to pull it back.
They don't let you swim naked.
I mean,
they don't just let you let it all hang out.
Had I had more confidence at 10 years old, I would have just kept going.
Oh, yeah, right. I hear that.
But look, so I aspire to be a respected athlete, the type that you see in the movies. And I've always lived my life believing it is a real movie. And so maybe sometimes I'm way out there with it, right? Maybe my expectations aren't realistic, but who's to say that, So I think I just had a lot of frustration just being told, no, you can do the things that I'm not good at. Like, oh, you can run, so let's put him in cross country on the girls team. And I'm in cross country and I'm last place all the time. So, but I wanted to be an athlete. I saw, all those great movies, the Angels in the Outfield. I'm telling all the kid things, right? That I kind of grew up on. Major League, right. Field of Dreams, Perfect Game, like all those triumphant sports movies. I wanted to be that. You know what I mean? I always envisioned my life as that, triumphing, right?
So how's that tie into like your dream of getting involved more with the board?
The funny thing is that I kind of gave up on that as I started working and I went to nursing school, and my main focus was how do I make it in the 2020 world. It wasn't that I was, I guess I was ashamed of my vision loss a little bit, and since I had, I'm legally blind of both eyes now, but at the time I was only legally blind of the one eye and had 20/70 out of the other one. I could blend in very well until I started reading things. But then B-ball ran into me, you know, through a teammate of mine out of nowhere. And when he said, you know, Zachary Rambler, I ran into him at a bar downtown. And the funny thing is, I didn't want to go. I don't like going out. You know, Zach didn't even want to go, you know, but me and my girl wanted to get out so bad. Kind of got in a little argument about it. I was like, let's go. Fine, whatever, let's go. So I go. Zach shows up. I didn't see him because, of course, it's kind of dark in there. My wife's like, hey, we got invited to a birthday party from one of our gym members. And Zach showed up because he was also a CrossFit coach. I didn't know at the time, but he shows up with a cane. And my wife's like, hey, this guy's here with a cane. And I was like, what? And they introduced me to Zach, and he's a CrossFit coach as well. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I always wondered if there are other visually impaired, you know, CrossFit coaches out there. And it's like, yeah. He goes, and this dude, like, we started like 30 seconds into our conversation. He's like, you play beatball? And I was like, yeah, you know, at the School of Blind, they didn't really push you. They didn't really make it seem that cool or anything. He goes, man, we have a world championship. And as soon as he said that, that fire just lit up right away. Just the thought of being able to be a champion and win a championship. Just when he said that, I lit up and I was like, I'm in 1,000%. You don't even got to explain it. Just tell me where to go, what time, I'll be there. And that's how it's been ever since.
I could totally relate to that. Like literally can pull up the second that light went off in me. So I could totally feel that.
So, you know, I came into the league there was Blake became president my first season. And since then, it's just like, to me, it feels like the way I feel that fire, I want to make sure everybody else in the membership feels that. You know what I mean? I have there's so much passion, so much fire that I live my life as best I can to mimic a professional athlete's life, even though I'm not getting paid for it. It's coming out of my pocket most of the time, right? And I kind of see the state of the league, and I'm like, this can't be all. Like, this can't be it, man. There can't be a league where there's only 4 or 5 competitive teams and a huge drop off. And this can't be where Tuesday games are, you know, tough to be in sometimes, let's put it that way. And it's just such a huge drop off. And I just feel like the energy that I have isn't what everybody else has. And I kind of haven't pinpointed that yet, but I just want to, my thought about being a president was I'd be able to bleed the whole league with this passion I have, right? But then I realized I need to take a step back and you know, be smart. Like, I didn't want my ego to get in the way, and I feel like my ego is kind of getting in the way a little bit. Because I'm a very confident person, thanks to my teammates and the membership and the sport. Like I said, I'm not the same person I was anymore. You guys created D. Smith. This is what you get. This is your fault.
You know? I'm not taking responsibility. You already D. Smith when I became friends with you. But I guess speaking of becoming friends with you, like when you were putting your hat in for president, like I certainly, as somebody that's been around the league near the league for over 30 years, understand the concern for your lack of experience. But I have appreciated like the friendship we developed over the last couple of years, really through this show. But learning like who you are or whatever, like I do know, like you're a committed person. You're committed to your family. You're committed to your job. You're committed to your team. So I do know, experience or not, if you were to get in there, I do know you're gonna bring passion. Seth, something he was talking said, which you and I know is true, as far as like the league being really top heavy. As long as you and I have been around the league, it's been for the most part top heavy. There's usually only a handful of teams that have a legitimate shot at winning.
You know, that is true, but in the world, in the real world, outside of like professional football, that's just how That's just how sports
I was kind of going there with my question was going to you was going to be kind of a two-parter. Like it's been like that as long as we've been around. Like one, I don't know if there's an easy answer, if an answer to like improving that, but also is it just a byproduct of that's the way sports are for the most part? There's always top-heavy teams. There's always mediocre teams that are close, but you know they're not going to win it all. And there's always teams you know right from day one aren't going to win the championship. Right. In just about every sport, maybe even in pros. Look at my Sacramento Kings.
Right. I mean, I think it is. I mean, basketball, you see it. I always go to football because they preach parity so much, and they tend to get it. But if you look at any other Division I college football, how many of those teams have a chance to win a championship, right? Like 4, perhaps.
Yeah. It's almost the same. That 4-team playoff thing is usually like 3 of the 4 teams were there the previous year.
Right. There's no reason to extend like that. To 16 because nobody else can actually win it. But I'll just say this: the thing is though, what we have to realize, and when I came in, right? I mean, Neil knows this. We were the same way. We were all pro competition too. I mean, we were both on the board and stuff like that. Pro competition too. But what I've realized is there are teams that are good being 15th and 16th, right? It's not. It's a recreational thing to them. So anytime we're like trying to think of like pushing I'm listening to you, David Smith, and I'm hearing your passion about pulling the teams up to try to compete for these championships. I mean, we have a league where, half of the, I don't want to say half of the teams, but a large part of the proportion of the teams aren't into winning a championship. It's just enough to go out to play, to be outside, to come to the World Series, see your people, see your buddies, hang out, see people you haven't seen in years. And so you have to kind of blend that together.
Well, maybe they should have their own tournament format then for them, the recreational type of teams.
I mean, that's an idea that's floated out there from time to time, and I don't know that it's a bad idea.
That's where I think it always gets tough. Are we gonna, whenever we are talking about this ultra kind of competitive World Series idea and format, are we talking about breaking up our league? Right? Is the NBBA no longer the structure we're thinking of because we don't want to deal with recreational teams?
No, that's
right?
not.
That's a question.
It's not. That's the wrong way to think about it. It's not that I'm not saying we don't want to deal with them. I'm just saying they should have. If they don't care about winning a championship, let's still have a little championship for them. The recreational barbecue championship. I don't know. Their own little thing. To where they have a chance in their own right with teams on their own level to still win a type of championship. And then
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I just gotta say we did kind of. This goes back before your time, but going back before 2006, there was a championship bracket and a consolation bracket. So on the very first day, and the numbers get thrown off a little bit because we don't have the same number of teams every year at our World Series, but after the round robin, like the top 8 or 10 teams go into the championship bracket and the rest go into the consolation bracket. But that got changed because people weren't happy with that either. And that, in the end, it was more, I think, what people are saying they want now, because after the round robin, the lower half teams played each other and the upper half teams played each other.
Yeah, but when you call it a consolation, that sounds crappy. That doesn't make me.
You just called it a barbecue.
Yeah, you just called it barbecue.
I know. That's not what we would call it.
There's no nice way to put this in the end.
And David Smith, secret. We used to call it the barbecue bracket too.
If you lost 2 games in your round robin, you're going to the barbecue. I learned this. I learned this from Wayne Simpson. 1,
Hey,
2
well,
barbecue. You get your 2 losses. 1, 2 barbecue.
it better be some damn good barbecue, all right?
Yeah, right.
You know,
I mean, but
so
there's always that balance. If we are going to keep the NBBA format that the NBBA has had for the last 50 years or however long it's been, where
yeah.
we have mixed the competitive and the recreational together in the same tournament, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if teams don't want to, if teams aren't interested, maybe we just ask them outright. Do you really want to win a championship ever? And if they say no, well, cool, man, no worries, you know. But we have to make a decision on something. We're not gonna make everybody happy. You know, I think, why don't we have a national team? You know, Taiwan makes a national team, then comes over and tries to kick our ass. You know,
I don't know that that's totally accurate. I know that that's the NBBA perception, but
well, I
I
know they
don't
have
believe.
7 teams. They have 7 teams, and they bring one team out of those 7 teams. That's a national
But I
team.
think it's the winning team out of their tournament. I don't think. I mean,
Yeah,
they may add a
call it
few
what you want.
players, but they don't build. I don't believe they build an all-star team from all their teams. It's the winning team, and I think it's less than 7. But they have a tournament, and I believe it's the winning team from that tournament that like gets all the backing to come over here.
Well, that to us, that's their national team. It says Taiwan on their jersey.
I mean, that's fair or whatever. You know that. I guess before we jump into that, and we can jump into that, but a thought, because it's a separate subject from what we were just talking about, and I just wanted to finish by saying, like, I've noticed comments both from the winning teams that throughout the World Series they want to play more of the top teams. And I've seen from the lower teams complain that they don't want to keep getting their butts kicked by the great teams. They would like to play more of the lesser teams. But I've never seen a proposal of any kind that would explain how we could have a 5-day tournament and have it balance out over the 5 days with the lower teams just playing the lower team, like everybody being in the same tournament, but the upper teams only playing the upper teams and the lower teams only playing the lower teams. Like nobody has found an answer to that. So I understand like the disappointments, but like nobody's putting forth answers. They just say it needs to change, needs to be better. But I mean, it's not going to change unless somebody comes up with a proposal of some
Neil
sort.
Dog, I had a plan back when we seemed to be trending towards more tournament, more participants, more teams. I actually have, like, if we had 24, I believe I have a good plan that accomplishes that and sets up a 3-game series at the end where the top 2 teams actually play a 3-game series for all the marbles or whatever.
What happened to that?
Well, the numbers all of a sudden started to fall off the cliff, right? Once it was as we were up over 20 teams, like, you know, regularly, and it seemed like, oh, you know, we're going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but then COVID hit, things and numbers just went down. But you have to have a certain number of teams to actually do it. I'll put it out on the board. I wrote it out. I have it sitting in my files and stuff like that. But
Put
there
it
are ways
as
to
put
to
it
do
as
it.
like part of the show, like in the comment section or whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could easily have a weekend tryout, build build a national team to split up into 2 teams, USA Team Red, USA Team Blue, sorry, and just beat the crap out of each other until we figure out how we can get Taiwan or the DR up here to get their asses kicked, you know. But that's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of everybody saying, I think. When is somebody gonna say, let's do this, and when are they gonna be able to get other people to say, let's do this as well? You know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The decision would have to be made that we are going all in on competition and saying to those who are not going all in on competition,
Right.
that hey, you guys aren't going to be a part of this anymore. And perhaps that's the way people are going to go, but I think that's a tough sell. I think that's a hard one to get across the membership.
We can't like they still would be a part of the league. We can't say like separate them, right? Just
yeah. No, I would. I mean, me personally, I hope nobody would. I don't want anybody to support separation because we're too small as it is as a whole. We're too small. We can't divide.
Right.
I agree.
But we could work together and try to find better answers if there's some out there. But
I think it's possible in the next 2 to 4 years we can wear USA jerseys. We don't, you know, I would love for us to be able to resemble the USABA, but the reality is we could do this ourselves. You know, it doesn't take, you know, too much to develop this national team, right? It doesn't take too much, and it doesn't take too much to get jerseys that say USA on them, and it doesn't take too much to earn the right to wear that. You know, we could do this ourselves.
I do think, I think building the team and giving people an opportunity to be part of the team, that's really the easy part. The hard part is I think it would really have to like have its own sponsorship in a way. And make no mistake, there would be a lot of cost to that. Like for a U.S. team to face off with the Taiwan team, or even if the Dominican Republic and Canada and the other countries we now have playing beat baseball could be involved, like there would be a lot of cost to that. So that part of it to me would be no.
It would take a major corporate sponsorship, and I always envision like WellMed presents World Beatball Classic. You know, it has to be a major sponsorship, and that's going to be a big hurdle, but it's not impossible. You know, you got.
I'm not at all trying to discourage you. I'm just giving honest response. Listen, I told David on the phone. I told David on the phone when we were talking about it yesterday. Like coming out as I was one of the people that got to go over to Taiwan in 2000, and on top of that, I was part of a team that won. I came away an all-star on offense, and like all the way home, I was totally dreaming about being on a USA team. Like I enjoy, even though I don't like to travel, I enjoyed that experience, that opportunity so much. I couldn't stop dreaming about how cool it would be to be part of a USA beat baseball team. And even though now the dream of being a player on that team's way beyond me, make no mistake, like when I look at the people who get to coach like goalball and track and stuff at the Paralympics, make no mistake, if there's a USA team, I'm applying for coach. I would. So I still have that dream my damn self, even though I'm so far removed from the game. So I get the dream and the desire, but it's got to be approached realistically. And you know, I don't know.
I've thought about it too. Obviously, we all have. If you're, you know, a competitive like beatball player, and you see the, you know, international, you know, competition and stuff.
You got to live it a little bit because even though you never went to the Olympics, you were on the U.S. Goalball team at tournaments.
Yep, and the U.S. ski team and all that stuff. So so I get it, but you cannot do. I don't see that you could do that personally under the heading of the NBBA. It's like the
current heading, right?
You're right. You're right. Yeah. How it's structured now, you would need to break that out, right? You would need to break that off from the NBBA, and that's just a tough call to make because we are not that big. It's not like we have thousands of players.
I disagree on the breaking out part, man. I don't think we would have to break off from the NBBA to do that at all.
Because again, with David and I talked about this quite a bit on the phone, and as far as this, like, I'm glad we're not talking about it being an Olympic sport, because the reality is, just in numbers wise, we're just so far away from that being realistic. And I mean, we're years and years away from it being realistic. But I think the goal, David, should be to make this, if somehow possible, an exhibition sport at the Paralympics. If like some kind of national thing could be done,
Yes.
especially between the U.S. and Taiwan, because that's where the best audience and
Yes,
guidance for growth would be, I think.
Totally agree on that. I totally agree on that, and that's what I mean. Like we could do that. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what it takes to become like an exhibition sport, but I think that's the avenue that, and with that, I don't think either that it would have, for any reason, have to be broken away from the NBBA. They would have to work with USABA in some kind of working relationship, I believe.
Well, the idea.
Well, I mean, hold on. Let me just say this. If you do that, if you're thinking of like, you have to have professional coaches, right? You're going to need trainers. There's going to be a whole level of infrastructure that you're going to need to put together a high level team, right? And so that's what I'm saying. That is not here in the NBBA now, right?
Yeah.
It's just not.
No, that's true.
I disagree. I disagree.
Where do you see that?
You got high level trainers, educated trainers in the membership.
I'm not saying that you don't have people in the membership. What I'm saying is you don't have like the structure. So
with
it's like
USABA, they get paid. Like their goalball coach
sponsorship would be a hurdle.
All right, and so it's just the structures aren't. And I'm not saying you couldn't put the structures in place.
You're just saying it's not there now.
It's not there now.
Right. So once you get like-minded people together on the board, then things become possible. And I'm telling you, you can get a big enough national team to split up into two teams, and you play each other just to bring to get those sponsorships, to get it out there. Exhibition games against each other to get it out there. Figure out maybe the Dominican Republic or Canada's close by. Figure out how to start getting them involved. The DR, you saw what Austin went over and did a demo, and they put 5,000 people in the stands. This is possible, guys. We just need like-minded people.
I think we need passionate people, but if everybody's like-minded, then you just get one thing. I still believe that you need a little bit of everything to come to the table because if everybody's just thinking the one way, the league's just going to go one way. You need kind of a mix, I still think. But everybody does need to be passionate and care. One thing I pointed out when elections were coming out last year is, man, the one thing we don't need is empty chairs. People who are just running for ego, or they think it'd be cool, or they just want to vote. We need every spot on the board, when possible, needs to be filled by somebody who's going to get in and get their hands dirty, whether people agree with them or not. You know what I mean? We need people who are willing to do the work.
So, next topic. My whole thing about wanting to be a leader in this league is player first, team first kind of mentality, right? How do we, we aren't in a good spot financially, okay, we need to start rebuilding our product that we present, and how do we do that? And I guess I'm still a nurse. I still got licensed, but I don't do too much clinical stuff. I do fitness education for people that are 60 years old or older, for the community in San Antonio, and so my passion is in health and fitness. And so my idea of kind of strengthening our product is providing resources to teams to help them train and help them get healthier, fitter, more athletic. And so if they're healthier, fitter, more athletic, you're more likely to put on a better show for the spectator, because this is a spectator sport, right? And so you get spectators excited at what they're seeing on the field, then you start getting people thinking about investing in us. And so an idea I have is, I'm going to do this whether I'm on the board, president, or not. I don't need to be in those chairs to do this, but I invested in a fitness program that provides you with 6 different types of programs depending on your environment, depending on your circumstances, depending on your fitness level, your experience level. And one program is, let's start from the most experience down, right? You got Olympic lifting programming. If you got that equipment and you're experienced with Olympic lifting, you can follow a program every single day.
Right.
The next one, let's say you got strength and conditioning. You got enough equipment, or you got a membership at a gym. You can go to the gym and do this program. If you're at home and you only got a set of dumbbells and a jump rope, there's a minimalist program, minimalist equipment program. There's a program that focuses on strengthening your stabilizing muscles, right? Like your shoulders and your hips and your ankles and your all those ones that get injured.
Right.
And then let's say you're coming back from injury or you're not experienced with lifting weights. Well, there's a body weight program. I personally like the body weight program because I can recover from it better, and it's quick. It's 35 minutes. It's a good workout. Get your heart pumping, get you fit, get you healthy, get you strong.
That's more or less what I've been doing, so I'm totally with you. Mike Finn,
body weight training is so underappreciated. It's not even funny. But so I want to provide every team in this league with this login information so that they can go on the computer, get a workout for their team every day if they want. And so any teams out there, y'all want that, y'all hit me up and I'll give that to you. Let me know.
Nice.
Okay, so that's an idea. That's something I want to do to try to help, build our product up so that we can present something, that's gonna give the spectator this wow, like holy crap, you know what I mean? Like the stuff you see when you watch professional sports on TV. That feeling where you're like, dang, how did Corey White hit a home run? Wow, shit like that, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
So that's something I'm passionate about, and I will be doing. And so how do we take what we got and make it present it better? You know what I mean? So that we can get people that want to give us money and invest in us.
So we could, in the end, we could spend the whole night trying to hammer out like all the possibilities. We're like an hour in now, close to it. So we should wrap up here before too long. But something I guess I want to circle back to, because I again felt like this was kind of the goal for me personally with this episode. Like I love the fact I might not have worded it too well at the beginning, Dave. I love the fact that I don't you had your head strong going in one direction, and that you we're able to take a step back and say, man, you know what? There's more to be learned here, and not just for you, for all of us. Like I feel like a lot of our membership, when we get to talking on the Facebook groups, get carried away with like having all the answers when they haven't seen the process at all. And right. I really dug the fact that you went and watched the process and said, man, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, I think everybody should. I love that you went to the board with like an open mind and came out of it with a different perspective or whatever. I think that's something.
Of course. I mean,
I think that's something valuable for other members to kind of learn from.
Yeah, you got to remember those guys are serving us. They're serving their community. You got to respect that, whether you like the way it's going or not. And I respect that. And I just feel like, I don't know. I kind of feel like the league is stuck a little bit, and they're not only me. There's a lot of players in the league that have this energy that really want to get it unstuck and moving in a direction that puts on a show. We want to put on a show. We want the whole league to put on a show, not just the top 4 teams. We want top down from 1 to 19, 22 or whatever to put on a show. And it's just there's so many passionate people in this league. And I don't think they're being heard. you know. And so, and that's I'm here to just kind of start a movement, honestly, you know.
I mean, that everything you just said is fair. There's absolutely nothing wrong with our membership wanting a better product, and we wouldn't have a better product, or our product will never get better if people don't want it to be better. So I'm totally with you there. And as far as you saying enough people being heard, I mean, Seth and I have talked a lot about this, Seth on the show, as far like that's why we want more conversations at General Assembly, even though
Yeah.
people might not want to sit through it. That's where stuff gets done. You know what I mean? That's where ideas get thrown around and hammered out, and people start to think like they realize they're on the same path, and they might sit down in their hotel room later and get a movement going. Like we're totally on board with that, David. Like the more voices that get heard, the more directions we have to explore. So.
Well, I mean, let's put a player council together. You know what I mean?
And not us. We're doing the show. You go put a player council together, and we will applaud you.
You know,
you know what it needs? The sport needs a competition committee that every year tries to make the sport more competitive, offer rules to make the product better, and doesn't let it just stagnate, right? Every sport has a competition committee that is constantly trying to make competition better, and we need that on a level.
Yeah, and it should be more like broad, like what you're saying. Just not whenever our board puts together a committee like that, it's to deal with a specific thing. The vision committee, the blindfold committee, like rather than just having a competition committee that oversees all that stuff and takes a look at other things from year to year.
Well, you brought up some good things. Some of the things I liked I heard on the board meeting where they are going to be investing in some Go Fix masks to explore the universal mask, and I was happy to hear that. You know, the Denver balls are going to be there. They got 200 balls ready to go. You know, I still think So here's the thing: we got to utilize our talent in the league, man. We got engineers, we got really smart people. We got to make sure we're utilizing them, you know, like Fonzie, you know. I like that they're exploring the wireless bases. Something happened with the base manufacturing, it fell through. So they're going to explore the wireless bases. So I was happy to hear that.
Our boy Darren Keeper probably in the mix with all that.
Yeah, we need to utilize Darren. There's a lot of people in this league. Everybody's a superstar in this league, man. And we got to just somehow bring it out. You know what I mean? Player first, man. That's what it's all about. Find out what the players want, not just some of them, but all 450 of them, and try to do your best, you know?
Oh, you know, democracy. Aristotle said it was the worst form of government.
So. I'm just getting ready to jump in and say, man, those are really good words to end on. And then here comes Seth. With his quote.
I'm sorry, man. The realism is like, man, we ain't getting 450 people to agree on a damn thing.
That's just part of the world. You take your, like I told Dave, man, and this goes to.
You just need 226. 50% plus one. That's what you should be looking for.
Like I told Dave, and I think this is important for any board member to keep in mind. There are so many battles on the field that once the vote's been taken, and whatever way it goes, whether you're happy with the decision or not, you just have to move on from there because there's always going to be a next thing to move on to. And I was guilty of this early on, my early years on the board, of hanging on to stuff that didn't go my way or being irritated about it and rude about it. And there's just no growth in that. You know, there's so many things on the table, man. Once the vote's been taken, whatever way it goes, close the door and move on to the next thing. Because there's always going to be next things. No, I mean,
I agree, Neil.
Those are good words.
Those are good words. I won't even throw anything negative or realistic to say about it, man. I'll just say that was great, Neil Dog.
Actually, I
that's my
Russian
issue. Don't smoke screen us now, Seth. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Well, Dave, man, I appreciate you jumping in on this because as you already know, when once things changed up, you were going to take a step back, and we weren't even going to do the show. But I don't know. I just had a personal appreciation for like your view. How you took a step back and looked at things. Not just younger people in the league. I think the older people in our league could do that same thing. I don't know. I think it sets a good example of I
love my older people, man. That's my everyday, my career. I serve you guys. You know what I mean?
You guys. You say you guys.
We're the old folks,
now you're going to mute it.
We're the old school deal, dog.
I know. He said you guys. That hurt.
Right.
I was going to say thank you, be all sarcastic, but he wasn't being sarcastic. That was real.
Hey, I'm here for y'all, man. I got you.
He's talking about putting together a senior game and stuff like that.
You know what? That's a badass idea. That's the best thing you said all night, Seth.
Oh man, thank you, man. We'll put that.
I love that idea. Actually, I really do love that idea. The Legends game, dude. Let's go.
All right.
Man,
Legends versus Legends.
Anybody that wanted that should have just had the extreme play the Legends last summer. You guys got your fix.
The Legends, the USA Legends were my favorite team, man. Let me tell you something, dude. Those guys are awesome, dude. Yeah, and I would love to see them play again.
You said that up on our YouTube page that when we had the Legends on our show or whatever, you mentioned that you're a big fan of them.
I live my life, man. My main thing, I'm trying to teach my kids, it's never too late to dream, man. Those guys proved it. Those guys were the real deal, dude. I love those guys. And I would love to see a Legends versus Legends game, dude. Winner takes it all, dude. Takes all the glory.
So takes what? 50 cents?
Well, you're going to probably be wearing diapers pretty soon, so you can take a diaper bag home.
None of us have enough NBBA keychains.
Yeah, right.
And on that note, folks, it's time to go. So I hope folks enjoyed this, man. We will.
I hope so,
thank you,
man.
David Smith.
Yeah,
good luck. Appreciate it. Hey, I'm sure we'll talk to you like 5, 6, 7, 8 more times before the World Series. So.
Let me know, man.
You, Richie Flores,
Darnell, the rest of the Thunder.
Hey, and you're still pumping, dude. Look at this, dude.
We'll do our best to try to mix stuff up as we go on, but. Good to see you again, David, man. Good talking with you, and good luck to you, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right,
Get life.
All right. Thank you, Seth Dog. Thank you, Mr.
Dog.
Frank Porter, for all you do.
Frankie.
Thank you.
This bud's for you. I'm sorry.
Thank you all for staying with us if you did. We'll catch y'all next time. Be well.